That way. There we go.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Gatesy, that's Duke, and we are Forged from Iron. So, the day after, the match before. So it's almost 24 hours or just over 24 hours since we kicked off at Old Trafford. Finished West Ham on the wrong end of it. It was Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0, an own goal by Craig Dawson in the 53rd minute. Lot of talk on social media and various other platforms and all the rest of it. Most of it centering around the personnel, about the formation, all of that, Duke. Give me your thoughts.
Honestly,
yeah. Try not to swear.
Listen, as other channels have coined the phrase, Moyes has got enough in the bank from me that I'm certainly not going to second guess his lineups. I'm certainly not going to judge his lineups until the game's over. That being said, the game's now over.
Yeah.
Mate, I can't even begin to tell you how disappointed I am. I've had several conversations across the course of the day, Facebook, Twitter, our Twitter page with a couple of the viewers and stuff, and I can honestly say we're a team that, going into a game last night, we were fifth, with the chance of going fourth with a win.
Yep.
We finished that game in fifth without a single shot on target. That is not a team that are looking to qualify.
Said, by the way.
No, go on.
I'm just laughing at Milesy. we've seen the photographs.
We've seen the pictures, yeah.
Mint.
It's not as nice as mine downstairs, but that's not the point. Peachy boy. Yeah, listen.
I did get your WhatsApp, mate, but we literally got it just as the show was about to start.
Just before we went live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't look like a team that wanted to. We're not a team that wanted to go fourth last night. He didn't set us up like a team that wanted to go fourth. Again, the general comments of people that are one will be on the show in a bit, actually. That's not a setup for a team that it gives them too much respect. Now listen, I'm not. I can sit here and bash Moyes' selection afterwards. As I said, he's got enough in the bank between now and the end of the season. I'm not gonna bash his starting lineups before the game kicks off, because we don't know what the result's going to be. We now know what that score was. We now know that there is not a single player bar Fabianski that can come off of that pitch and hold their head high. He made a few good stops in that game. Even in James, he made a couple of good stops in that game. He got down to his right a couple of times. Big one-handed saves. Pushed the one onto the post, and then the other one that he pushed away as well. But the rest of them, no, you're all right. Listen. I'll rehash what I've said to you already, Gatesy. First half, we came out. That lineup was essentially 5-3-2 to kick off with, and ended up quite quickly.
Underwhelming at best, I think, is my thoughts on it.
Yeah, mate, it was awful. Like, listen, I get try and stifle United. I get trying to stop them from playing by having three deep line midfielders, having three defensive midfielders in a way, in Souček, Noble, and Rice, and you could really think that those three would have enough. Now, for me, the way I was looking at it before kickoff, and obviously I was watching Hamish chat with Gio and Gonzo, and he read out the team sheet, and I kind of went, okay, so what we're going to do is, out of possession, we're going to have two banks of, or a bank of five and a bank of five. Two banks of five. It made more sense when I first said it to myself. And they were going to bring. Listen, I can't disagree.
You're not wrong, Jenks. You're not wrong.
We had two banks of. Well, no, we had a bank of five and a bank of four, because they left Antonio up front on his own.
Yeah.
So
unplayed, wasn't he?
listen, as I said to you before we went live, and honest to God, if Haller had played the game that Antonio had played last night, we would have been slating him. We would have gone to town on Haller for the performance that Antonio gave last night. Yeah. It was awful. He offered nothing. Even after Benrahma and Lanzini came on, he still offered nothing.
Just to play devil's advocate, though,
you always do.
His so-called strike partner, last night, offered even less, in my opinion.
Oh, completely agree with you. But I think
I didn't realise he was on the pitch until he hit that header wide. And I know everyone's going to say, yeah, but it would have been offside. I don't care. He didn't know he was offside.
Oh, he's got to do better.
At minimum, work the goalkeeper, and he didn't.
He was never working the goalkeeper.
It wasn't even in the same postcode as the goal.
No, and you know what? And this is what annoyed me. We set up with a defensive mentality. What frustrated me is that none of the players on the pitch saw that it was going against us. None of the players on the pitch, i.e. the two club captains that were out there, in Rice and Noble, saw that it wasn't going to plan. There was no outlet going forward. Now, my opinion on that is that the players on the pitch should be allowed to change things as they see fit. And I've always said this, Casey, the players on the pitch are the ones playing the game. So they should be allowed to, as they see fit, to change certain aspects of the play. You know, Antonio's not getting the support. We need to change that. Maybe Noble goes to the side of the pitch and when the ball's out or someone's injured, whatever, goes over the side of the pitch, speaks to Moyes and says, look, this ain't working. I think we need to push Souček a little bit further forward to give Bowen and Antonio the support as an out, because just two of them there as an out ball didn't work.
Milesy's,
but it doesn't happen.
In the chat, look at this.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'm not sure what an away jail is. The away jail there. That's, I think that's the Irish spelling. But yeah, no, listen, I was as frustrated as every single person out there last night. I really was. Listen, let's not mess around. As I've already said, we're a fifth place team that could have gone fourth, that's fighting to get into Europe. Results to a degree went for us at the weekend.
Massively.
And we bottled it.
Yep.
We bottled it.
Yep.
Moyes bottled it with his team selection, that we now know he bottled it with his team selection, because, as I said, I'm not going to judge before the game. But the players bottled it on the pitch. As I said, Noble's club captain, take the game. Take the game and realise it ain't working. Go to the sidelines. Well, Moisey, this ain't working, son. I think we need to push Souček a little bit further forward and go 5-2, 5-2-3.
Or anything. Because, I mean, we discussed it before we hit record. I mean, Ben Johnson, bless him, looked completely lost. Completely lost. I mean, you saw him in the footage. He's looking across at the bench. He hasn't got a clue whether, where he's meant to be. One minute he's our left back in a back five. Then he's playing as a right winger. And you could see he's looking across at the bench and he's like, where do you want me? What do you want me to do?
The poor sod didn't stand a chance. As I said to you before we went live, right? It's like, well, that's true. It's like they were in at half time, that 15 minutes in there, and nothing was discussed for the second half. Yeah. That's how it came across when they came out. Nothing was discussed for the second half. And Moisey's kind of gone, oh shit. But boys, this is what I need you to do. And then we come out for the second half, and Declan Rice drops into centre back.
Yeah.
Cresswell goes out to the left wing back, and they tell Bowen to go left wing and Johnson to go right wing, because they wanted Johnson and Soufal to double up on Rashford. Now, it's worked once doing that kind of thing against Grealish. And we know it's worked once against Grealish, and it worked bloody well. And everyone went, oh, maybe that's the way forward.
Can I just jump in there a sec, Duke?
Yeah, go.
Just for the whoever the contributor is here, for any of you guys watching through Facebook, this is how we get it. We get it just as Facebook user, so we haven't got a clue who you are. Thank you for your comment. But if you wish for us to know who you are, what you need to do is you need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and you need to there's some hoops you got to jump through, change your settings and whatever, and then basically we'll then get your name and we'll get your profile picture, so we'll know who you are. Other than that, if you're watching through Facebook and you don't do that, this is literally how we get it, just as Facebook user. So you could be my brother, you could be anyone.
No, that comment was by Brian. Brian Coulter has put that, because I've just opened up Facebook and I've got the stream in the background.
Welcome, Brian.
Brian, you're right.
Let us, like I say, just go to streamyard.com/Facebook, muck around with the settings on there, and then we'll know who you are in any of you guys that are watching on Facebook. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, they came out, like I say, they came out in the second half, and just to go back to Brian's comment there, spot on. It's Spurs did the same yesterday. And here we are taking the proverbial piss out of them, and we've gone and done exactly the same 2 hours later. They come out for the second half, not one. Don't get me started, James. They we do the same with Bowen. Bowen's a left-footed player playing on the right. You can't have it both ways.
But then so was Snodgrass.
Yep. Listen, me and James are going to be going at each other in a minute anyway, so let's just wait.
Stick around, boy, stick around.
We're going to get the Vaseline from the eyebrows, because he's going to come in with some jabs later. He was lost. Again, once they scored, 5 minutes later, he makes the substitutions. He pulls off Noble. He pulls off Ben Johnson. And all of a sudden, we looked a different side. I'm not saying we were going to go forward and tear up any threes. Yeah, of course it was.
The only way was up. We were awful up to that point.
Yeah, but we were never going to go on and win it. I don't care what anyone says about it, including myself. I can say we look better going forward after we've made the subs. But as I said to you before, Antonio started pulling wide because he didn't have any help. Antonio started to pull wide, leaving Bowen kind of running central. Night, mate. And we had nothing. We didn't have an out ball. Now, I would have started Ben Rama instead of Bowen, because Ben Rama will go ahead and try and beat people. This is something you and Fat Boy are going to agree on. I know this. Yeah. He would have beaten people and given Antonio the chance to try and find some space in front. I know we tend to. I'll be Tyson Fury. Have I got to give them a sort of like my Michael Buffer intro when they come in? Let us know, boys. Do you want the full-on Michael Buffer intro, or how you want to do it? I'm gonna be Tyson Fury when he fought Klitschko, because I've got the belly going on, So. No, mate, be all and end all. In hindsight, the team was set up wrong. Evening, Rich. In hindsight, the team was set up wrong. The formation was wrong. The personnel, to a degree, was wrong. And the players on the pitch didn't offer anything. They didn't. I said it in the Facebook group. I think it was last night or maybe this morning. They didn't stamp their authority. They certainly didn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck. They didn't control the play. They didn't, dictate the pace and the tempo of the game. Not once did we look on top at any point. It screamed of Moyes being quite content with a point. And I always think that's a really dangerous game to play, of playing to get a point. That's completely alien to me. Play to win every game. And it don't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter if you're, Dog and Duck Rovers going against Barcelona. You play to win.
It's as simple as that. You don't
But he
go
does
to
it
draw.
every time, mate. He does it every time.
Well, now here's the thing, guys, right? David Moyes, in his roughly 20 years as a Premier League manager on and off, he has never won a Premier League match at Old Trafford. He also has never won a Premier League match at
Does
Anfield.
that include when he was manager of Man United? He didn't win it at Old Trafford.
Well, obviously, as a visiting manager.
I wouldn't be surprised after his record.
Well, maybe that's why he got the sack. But no, obviously he won as Manchester. I'm talking as the visiting manager.
Yeah.
But he's never won at Anfield. He's never won at Stamford Bridge. He's also never won at either the Emirates or Highbury. Now, I got a mate that's an Everton fan, and he turned around and said, obviously what he did for us was fantastic, because when he walked in, I think the previous manager, if I remember rightly, was Walter Smith, and they were struggling. They were struggling big time.
Yeah.
And he come in and he turned them around and managed to get them stable, and they were always competitive. They'd be like top 8, top 6, top 8, top 6. I think there was the season, if I remember right, it was the season that Liverpool won the Champions League in 2005. Everton actually finished 4th. But because Liverpool won it, they then got knocked down into a qualifier and all the rest of it. And that was when the rules changed and all the rest of it. But my mate turned around and said, he did great for us, but he always set the teams up, especially away from home against the big teams like the Chelseas, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, to park the bus. Now, so am I surprised when we go to teams like Manchester United at Old Trafford? Was I surprised to see yesterday's formation and personnel? Not really. No. Because if those of you that were watching the previous discussion, I actually put 2 teams out because I was torn between what I would go with, which would have been a 4-2-3-1, and I would have put Ben Rama in, but I kind of knew he's not going to do that. He's going to go 5 at the back. And I did it as a 5-4-1, if I remember rightly, which is not a million miles away from what we actually had when you look at it. Obviously, we lost Pablo Fornals, which was an inconvenience. But people go on about Jesse Lingard. Well, we knew Jesse Lingard was unavailable for this game when we signed him on loan. So we can't complain. Look at the bench, though. Now, that's the thing where I look at and go, there's your problem. Right, here was the bench: Balbuena, Ben Rama, Lanzini, Alves, Martin, Trott, Odebeko, Coventry. Now you've got 2 goalkeepers there. You've also got a guy in Alves that's never played a minute of first team football. Odebeko has, he's not done anything really, and neither's Connor Coventry. So what are your options from the bench? Well, you've got Saeed Ben Rama, and Fatboy and I have discussed this. He's used 20 minutes here. He's used 10 minutes there.
It's awful, his treatment so far.
It's like, you've paid... And David Moyes, I'm assuming, said to the board in the January transfer window to free up the loan spot to get Jesse Lingard in. Yep, he's the man for me. Pay the 20 million now. You might as well. And he's barely played.
Yep.
Manuel Lanzini, with the best will in the world, is a busted flush. I know there's going to be people watching this that go, no, he's still a fantastic player. Still, look at what he did yesterday. Yeah, okay. We looked better when those 2 players came on. But the bar was pretty low to begin with. We were absolutely abysmal. So anything had to be an improvement from that point on.
Yeah, I mean,
just ridiculous.
You can't. I think Gio at Hammer's Chat nailed it earlier with his comment that this is a delayed fallout from not getting a striker in the transfer window. Because I'm telling you now, if you had any other option than Odebeko on the bench, Antonio's being hauled off. And I saw, I think it was James's comment earlier about Antonio not being 100%. You know what? Looking at his performance yesterday. See, right. I want to touch on this comment here from Andy because I've seen this. No, you know what? I've seen this all across Facebook yesterday. last night, Twitter, all day today. I've actually spent some time on Facebook and Twitter today because, as I said to you earlier, I was doing bits for the pub.
Hello, Ryan.
And my issue is if we'd gone there and got spanked 4-0, 3-0, 4-0, and I mean spanked because we decided to go out and try and do, I think people would have turned and gone the other way. Why didn't we set up more defence? I can see it happening, Rob, because that's the sort of people we are. We're reactionaries. West Ham fans, we always have been. And I'm not going to dig, and I'm not going to slate people for it because I'm kind of the same. Stop whispering out the corner of your mouth, telling them to stop banging their knives and forks together. I see it. I can hear the clacking. All right, I know what's going on.
It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
We would have. No, I won't ask.
Don't ask.
We would have reacted the same way if we'd gone down 4-0 and gone out trying to play and got battered. Because let's be honest, although we came out in the second half and we played a more offensive formation, we still didn't see much of the ball and do anything with it when we did. We didn't have a shot on target. So if we'd lost 4-0, we still wouldn't have had a shot on target. We still wouldn't have been able to get into the game or do anything. And I'm a firm believer that this would have happened. And we would have turned anyway. So
you say that though, but maybe if we had gone out with a more positive mindset, Duke, maybe we would have got a shot on target.
Listen. You can say that.
Maybe we'd have had more of the ball. Maybe we'd have pushed back. We'll never know.
Where does the positive mindset come from?
We played 90 minutes of football. We played 90 minutes of football. Take out the extra time at Old Trafford in the cup game. We played 90 minutes of football over 2 matches. Sorry, 180. Excuse me. Over the 2 matches in the space of a month. How many shots have we had on target in 180 minutes? I don't think we had. We certainly never had a shot on target yesterday. I don't think we had a shot on target. I think there might have been the Craig Dawson header that was on target in the last minute.
Does it count?
That was probably it. That's probably it. So in 180 minutes, to the best of my knowledge, 1 shot on target, and it's because both games we've set up scared.
But who does that lie with?
For a 0-0.
He sets the team up in a formation.
Yep.
He set the teams up with his formation and tells the players, this is how I would like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
The players on that pitch, well, no, we can't go defensive. We tried to go defensive last night and it went wrong. Players on that pitch are the ones...
we went out and attacked them. If we went out and attacked them,
we could have. If we'd gone out and attacked them and got a goal,
the pressure on.
Yeah, if we'd gone defensive after we got the goal, that's no different than the entire 90 minutes yesterday. It's easy. Listen, it's easy to. No, this is what this is all about, Gatesy. This is opinions, and I'm going to be going toe to toe with someone else in a minute. Anyway, so
we're not going to fall out over it.
No, this is it. The players for me are the ones that are out there that can make a difference. And I've always said this: when managers get sacked, when Slav went, when Moyes came in the first time round, etc., etc. A lot of the pressure that are on these managers is caused by the players not performing on the pitch. Now they can see it's not working, then say something. And I'm a firm believer in this. I'm a firm believer. When I used to play football, if it weren't working on the pitch, you'd go have a word with your manager. And I know it's different levels and everything else, but surely
But it's all
mindset's the same.
Yeah.
You go have a word with him, listen, it ain't working. We can see it weren't working and we're watching from up here. Surely Noble don't want to be backtracking, every 25 seconds after we retain the ball for 5 and then we're on the back foot again. Because we've automatically lost it because there's no bugger up there helping and doing a job, So the players have got to take some sort of responsibility for this. They really do. I can't just put
top down.
It's 50-50, mate. In my opinion, he set them up wrong, and they didn't speak up.
Right. Okay.
There's no tea left.
I've got the ump to the pitch.
I'm going over the Pepsi.
This is the team that took to the pitch. Now, bear in mind also, don't forget one thing I also forgot to mention about the subs bench. We only had 8 players on it.
Mm-hmm.
right? You could have had an extra player, but we didn't.
Yep.
Okay, so let me put you in David Moyes' shoes, just to, for purposes of debate. So that's the team that took to the pitch yesterday. Now, given that on the bench you had to choose from Balbuena, Benrahma, Lanzini, Alves, Martin, Trott, Odebeko, and Coventry, if you were David Moyes and you had those 8 players that were also in the first team squad that were available for selection, and you're choosing to take on Manchester United at Old Trafford, and a Manchester United that 2-3 days earlier were playing a 1-1 draw in the Europa League and have got to play the second leg this week.
Yep.
Is that the team you're putting out? And if
I'm changing one player.
Go on.
I'm taking Noble.
Yep.
And I'm putting in Benrahma.
Okay.
I'm moving Antonio more central. And I'm dropping Bowen back to a cam with Benrahma beside him. So I'd literally my only change there would be to remove Noble, push that shirt further forward, and literally play a 5-2-2-1. Because then you've got an out ball.
So your width is you're totally reliant on the fullbacks getting forwards.
Yeah. But you'd also get width from Benrahma and Bowen. So what you do is you give Bowen and Benrahma the free roles. If they need to drift wider and have Johnson and Soufal overlapping, then so be it. But when we're in possession, we go from that 5 from my formation. So we go from a 5-2-2-1. In possession, we go to a 3-2-5, if you will. All right. So then you've got Johnson, Soufal, Benrahma, Bowen, and Antonio as your attacking group.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't ask Souček or Rice to even bloody set foot over the halfway line. And then once you're out of possession, everything reverts. So you go back to a defensive 7, if you will, maybe a defensive 8 by asking Bowen to drop back into the centre circle, leaving Antonio where he is, bringing Benrahma more into the central, and then you've got kind of a defensive 7 with an out ball to Bowen and Benrahma. We never had that. Every time we got the ball, our out ball was to Antonio. We even had to pull out to the left, and then eventually there was no one in front of him. Now, no disrespect to Antonio. He's quick. He's not tricky. He's not skillful to that degree of the other player that I've mentioned in Benrahma. You're on mute. If you're talking to me, you're on mute. If you're talking to the others, you're talking. Yeah, that's better.
He's a bulldozer, I was saying.
Yeah, he is. Listen, he's going to batter people out of the way, but he's not skillful. So his best hope of beating a man is knocking the ball 20 yards and galloping after it like a racehorse. That's all he's got. Yeah. That's literally what's in his locker. And once he does that, who's he
with craft?
Who's he crossing to?
Yeah.
Who's he crossing to? Bowen?
No one. Noble,
Souček, and Rice.
If he's crossing to Bowen on the basis of that header yesterday, you might as well forget it.
Don't want to see it. Yeah, exactly. But he's not got no one there.
We're just about half an hour in.
You've muted yourself again. Now, what are you doing, man?
That wasn't meant
Stop pressing buttons. You're having to go and leave that pressing buttons.
Right. Okay, guys, in the chat, you've got the link. On you come. Fill your boots. I'm guessing. Guess who wants to come in?
Come on, Fever. Come on, Fever.
Duke. Tell him your thoughts. Now, I think that lineup was a scared lineup. That was. Here he is. Right. There we go. He was ready. He's ready. In you come, James.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Well, you know my feelings because we spoke earlier on Hammer's polls. By the way, I prepared this. If anyone is watching and thinks Hammer's polls, what the bloody hell's that? There you go.
Fever, the floor is yours, sir.
I was disgusted with it, mate. Like, I was on a show. I'll tell you this right now, Duke. Yeah, I was on a show with Jake. I was on a Manchester United fan channel, and
Yep.
me and him were discussing the game. Both of me and him are optimistic about the game. They asked us our predictions. Jake gives his prediction first. Then before I'm just about to give mine, the team news comes out, and I'll never forget what that young lad said. I'll never forget what that young lad said to me. I was praising the team up, and he says, "James, before you tell him your team selection, mate, I think you need to look at this team sheet." And he puts the team sheet up, and my first words that come out of my mouth was, "I'm disgusted."
Yeah.
Well, the way I look at it is, Duke, and this is the way I look at it, right? Man United are not full strength. They played Thursday night.
Yep.
When is it positive to go against them?
No, listen, and this is my this is my argument with the whole thing. He did set up defensively, and I'm not saying he didn't, and I'm not defending the lineup in the slightest. Like I say, I would have played Ben Rama. I would have gone 5 at the back because you've got Rashford and Greenwood, you've got Dan James. I mean, they're pacey fuckers. They really are. And I mean, I had a conversation with Gatesy for the preview, and I think I spoke to my dad not about an hour afterwards. And I did say the only difference between Dan James and Rashford is quality. They're both just as quick as each other, and they both can get beyond players. They're tricky, but it's the quality. So I would have still would have still gone with 5 because I would have wanted that extra defensive kind of with Dan James and Rashford there. Well, I think we needed that extra bit of it in defence. Other than that, but we had no out ball. And this is what I was saying. You know, we had no out ball. We had no. I was pissed off with a defensive understanding of that lineup. But the players should have said something. Noble's got to set a set of testicles on him that he can go over the sideline and say it ain't working, boss. He's got to.
Yeah. Can I ask you something, though, Duke? I've asked a lot of people this, and I'm going to ask you, right? Because I respect your opinion, right? But does Moyes trust Ben Rama?
No. It proved to me last night he didn't. Proved to me last night that it didn't, because he should have started. As I said, as I kind of brought it up earlier. Ben Rama would have given us an out ball. So when Antonio got the ball on the left, his only way of beating a man is getting that ball past him 20 yards and going like a racehorse, right?
Yeah.
Ben Rama, on the other end, would be able to beat a couple of players with skill, look up, maybe a quick 1-2 with Antonio. Let Antonio get into the box, in comes the ball. We had no out. Every time the ball went up there, Antonio would lose it, Bowen would lose it, and it's coming straight back at us again because we had no one that's, a bit tricky with the ball that would have made Man U think about what it was that we were going to do. It was blatantly obvious what we were going to do when that team sheet came out. We were going to sit a bank of 5, a bank of 3, and ask Antonio and Bowen to do everything else, and it was never going to work. Never going to work.
Can I ask you this? Because I asked Gatesy on Emma's polls, and I asked you this. After his post-match interview, he turned around and said, in hindsight, he wouldn't have done anything different. What do you make of that?
That, do you know who that stinks of? Stinks of Sam Allardyce. Stinks of Sam Allardyce. I wouldn't have done anything different. Look at the stats. That's what that reminds me of. That's a stubborn manager who doesn't see the error of his ways.
Since you say that, okay, let's look at the stats. Manchester United, 15 shots, 4 on target. West Ham, 7 shots, 0 on target. Possession 62 at Manchester United, 38 to West Ham. Yeah.
Can I
interject
there? Yeah. Can I interject there? We've played them twice. We've played them twice in 5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
We've not had one shot on target.
I think we had the Craig Dawson header in the cup game.
No,
yes, which he just plucked out the end. He plucked it out the air.
No,
yeah.
Well, whether that was on target or not, but okay.
I think that's the only one. We certainly didn't have a shot on target yesterday. Yesterday we were appalling.
All right, Rob.
We were appalling.
Correct me on one shot on target in 100 minutes of football.
Honestly, it was. Yeah. I mean, it was diabolical. We had. Listen, we had one of the one of the most skillful players outside of the Sky Sports top 6. Okay, and I stand by that. Ben Rama is one of the more skillful players outside of the Sky Sports top 6 teams. And we went, sit on the bench again, son. Thanks very much. Get splinters in your ass. Because that's all he's doing at the minute. That's all he's doing at the minute.
I didn't want to say this on your show, James, just in case I offended
So
anyone.
you bring it on to ours.
This is my show, so I don't care, because I compared him to Wilfried Zaha at Manchester United, and I what I mean by that is, has he been sniffing around Moyes' daughter or something? What's going on? Because it's seriously, it's like you've paid 25 million quid for this geezer, and you paid 20 million quid of it 6 months ahead of when you needed to, and you're sticking him on the bench every time. Well, you might as well not have bothered.
I don't know about you, but what I can't understand and what I can't work out is this is like it was 11 games. Like this is 11 games from glory. Remember, this is not us. Like if that team would have been fighting relegation, I think we would all have sat there and gone, you know what, that's a good team. Like go up there, we're going to try and hold them out, and we would not one West Ham fan up and down the land would have moaned, right?
Well, when look at the Man City game.
See, I've said that. I said it on West Ham Fan TV last night. I sort of lost it a little bit on there. I said, at the end of the day, why are we fighting for the top European honours, or are we trying to fight to stay in the league? And it's just like you got to weigh it up. At the end of the day, Ben Rama is fit. He hasn't played many games. I went for a little bit of an analysis, right? And if we all go back to the Aston Villa game, where we arguably that was one of our best performances away from home, right? Ben Rama tore it up. Yeah. Then we moved on to the Fulham game. He played 55 minutes, got subbed. It wasn't his best game. And I'll hold my hands up, and I'll agree with that.
No, but there was a lot of people that had a bad game that day. But
even Bowen had a bad game.
If Ben Rama starts and it's not going so well, it's always Ben Rama that seems to be the one that carries the can. No one else.
Yeah. And then what it was, when he played Manchester United in the FA Cup, he comes on the 87th minute against Manchester United in the FA Cup. We end up losing that game in extra time, right? Then he comes on again against Sheffield United, right, in the 80+ minute, right? Yeah. I'm just remembering it. I've remembered it all, right? Then the following week we play Spurs, right? He's a sub again. He comes on again, and then we go to Manchester City. He comes on the 80th minute or the 77th minute. Sorry,
it's embarrassing.
Against Manchester City. And then the first start he had.
I know that you could level at him that maybe he's a little bit naive defensively at times. I mean, I remember in that Tottenham game, because that was when he did the throw in deep in our territory.
Yeah,
and he did the throw going backwards to Aaron Cresswell, I think it was. And it's just silly little things like that sort of like do make you think, yeah, defensively, he's maybe a little bit naive in certain situations. And that's probably part of the reason why Moyes is maybe not so keen on him. But as I say, I'm like, you paid 20 million quid up, for, 6 months ahead of schedule. And since then, he's virtually exclusively been a bench warmer. Yeah, why did you bother? You might as well have saved the 20 million until the summer.
I don't know about you, though, but he's going to make mistakes. But how's he going to learn? Like he can't learn from the bench, can he? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just it's disappointing. Crazy. It's massively, and the problem is now Moyes has dug an hole now, massively dug an hole, because the Arsenal game now turns into a massive game. And let's be honest here, if we all sit here now and we go right, if we was to all look at this and analyse this, we don't know what team he's picking against Arsenal.
No,
I don't know where.
I said this earlier.
If he goes 5 at the back, I'll tell you what, something's wrong. If we go 5 at the back against Arsenal, because let's have it right, we battered them at their place. We was very unlucky to lose that game, right? And where are they at the minute? I think they're 10th in the league.
I think they moved up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're 4 points.
They are 10th.
They're 4 points behind us if they win.
Arsenal are on 41.
Yeah, if they beat us,
if they beat us, they go to 44, so they will be 4 points behind. Yeah. Their goal difference is +8, and ours is presently +10. So it's quite finely balanced. And
2-goal swing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, boys, let me ask you this then. So as you said, right. So I set my stall out before the Tottenham game. It was a 6-game run, right? So I said a draw at the time. It was a draw against Spurs, and bearing in mind this was before the Spurs game. I set this up. So a draw against Spurs, beat Leeds. I expected us to lose against City, but the fact that we got the win against Spurs, got the win against Leeds, going into the Man City game, I was excited.
Cheers, Peach.
I was kind of like, go on, yeah. We got the loss. No big hurt, because, you know, it's City. Let's not mess around. And then we come into today's game, and then we had Sheffield United. I had that down as the win, right? And then obviously Man U and Arsenal. So we'd beat Leeds and we'd beat Sheffield United. I had us down a draw with Spurs and draw with Arsenal and lose to Man U and lose to City. That's where I was 6 games ago, thinking about it. Now we're now 4 games in, and we've got the 2 wins and the 2 defeats. So now we're coming up against. I think we've now got Arsenal and Wolves next, haven't we? So I kind of ballsed up somewhere down the line.
No, you're correct. Then it's Leicester. Then Leicester straight after that.
So for me, like I know 6 games ago or 4 games ago, I said 2-2-2. I'm now coming into these final 2 games going, nah, I expected at least a point last night, but I was also thinking we could have got the win if we'd gone out and set up right. So now I'm going into the Arsenal game going, all right, I understand there's a draw against Arsenal. I'm not going to settle for that anymore. I know I said 2-2-2. I ain't settling for 2 draws in the next 2 games now. I want another 2 wins out of this. I want to go into the Leicester game with another 6 points. You know why? Because I want 4th. I want 4th. There's no 2 ways about it now. And if we aim for 4th and we miss it by 6 points and finish 6th and get Europa League or European Conference League or whatever the poxy thing's called, if we aim for 4th and miss it, then so be it. But if we aim for 6th and we miss that and finish 8th, I'm coming back to yesterday's game as citing where it went wrong. Because that last night was diabolical from both sides of the coin, from the managerial setup to the players out there playing. They, like I've said to you already, Noble should have gone, boss, it ain't working. Let's get Souček a bit further up front to give us an out ball, because he's a beast. He can hold the ball up. He can pass the ball. We've seen that. So let's get him a little bit further forward to support Bowen and Antonio, because we ain't got an out ball, boss. Every time we clear it, it's coming straight back at us. I didn't see that. Like I said, didn't see no dictating the play. Didn't see no one grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. That was Noble's chance there, not just to show that he's deserving of another year's contract, which he certainly didn't last night, bless him. Ain't his fault. He's just been dropped in. He's obviously showing something on the training field, but also to show his leadership qualities of what could come in the future. And I didn't see any of that last night. Your opinion there?
See, I don't really blame Noble last night. Like, when I look at Noble in a whole, I don't go, oh, it's Noble's fault. I just look at the whole team selection was completely wrong. Like, and the thing what he had there, basically, he had a choice to make. Right, he had no Fornells, no Lingard. Do you pick Ben Rama? Right, and he's looked at it and gone
straightforward.
And it's straightforward, yeah. We know it, you know it, everyone knows it, right? You go, right, fair enough, you've lost Lingard, you've lost Fornells, go with a 3-man attack, take Ben Johnson out, put Noble in with Souček and Rice, 4-3-3, away you go, right? The problem I've got with it now is, I don't know whether you agree or not, but the confidence shift has completely changed. Like, last week, we got a good win against Leeds. Yeah, and momentum's a big thing now. If we've now got we done nothing last night, lads. Like there was nothing.
I don't even think we did as much as that.
Yeah, and how can I put this? Like, we've done nothing for 90 minutes, and we've got to somehow go back to the training ground reassess it, play Arsenal on Sunday, and go, you know what, we've got to go again. But we've done nothing. If that makes sense. Like we didn't have a shot on target. Dean Henderson could have sat there in his reclining chair and gone, you know what, have a fag, have a kebab and chips, and he's laughing.
He could have brought the book and everything. Yeah, but I mean, obviously Lingard coming back will be absolutely key for us as far as our attacking thrust is concerned. Fornals, yeah, I mean, look, we'll see how that plays out. I think if he's fit, he comes straight back in as well for me.
But let me ask you this though: if
Fornals play 5 at the back, we can't play 5.
But if Fornals don't come back, if Fornals don't come back, right? This is the team that I've always wanted to see: Antonio, Benrahma, Bowen, Lingard.
Would you put Bowen ahead of Fornals on current form? I wouldn't.
Yeah, but the way I agree with that, but then I look at it and think, right, you've got pace on both wings. You've got Lingard who's going to press, and you've got Antonio as a beast up front who's going to be like barge getting into their defence. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is... I don't know what the crack is with Moyes and Benrahma. I cannot work it out. And if someone could tell me the reason why...
I don't know if his daughter's involved, allegedly.
You know what I mean? It's just disappointing.
You've only got to look at the way Lingard and Benrahma link up. I'm sorry, but we go into that Arsenal. We go up against that Arsenal side, and at times I watched the game yesterday between Arsenal and Spurs, and at times that Arsenal defence make me chuckle because I think out of fucking God's green, are you a Europa League? I think knockout round, top 6 Premier League team regularly for the last few seasons. With that defence, you got Sideshow Bob in there. They've brought Kieran Tierney down from Celtic, who doesn't look a bad player. I'm not going to slate him, but right now that back four looks so disjointed at times. And I mean, Holding, I think he's a fantastic centre back, and I think he's got a great career in front of him. But when you've got Louise in there, the other 3 are going, I don't know what we're doing with him. I can't work, and then it throws their game off. It throws their game off. So, as you just said there, mate, that front 4, Benrahma, Bowen, Lingard and Antonio, in theory, should absolutely shred that back 4 next week. Absolutely shred them.
Yeah. But let's be honest here. It just will not happen. It just will not happen. Like, if you two could sit there right now and go, you know what, let me have a rough idea what the team is, right? You're braver men than me because I couldn't pick the team.
I couldn't tell you.
And
hey,
the thing
you jumping on, mate? Links in the chat.
It's just one of them ones. It's disappointing. Like the thing is, next week now, like, how can I put this? If we don't perform next week, and he turns up and he doesn't play Benrahma, this season could drop off the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Massively.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's
Here's
the fear now.
Here's a little insight. We have lost half of our 12 Premier League games this season against sides starting the day above us in the league, compared to just 7% of the 15 matches against everybody else.
I mean,
when you're setting up with 5 at the back again,
exactly.
I don't know about you, right?
Meet them on the front foot. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop being a bunch of pussies.
I can remember. I don't know about you, lads, but I can remember this season. Right, there's a couple of times where it's worked. Right, at the 5. But that was when, like, you had Mazuaku there on the left-hand side. I'm not a fan of Mazuaku, and I'm not saying I am, because obviously Gatesy knows I'm definitely not. No. But as a left-footed player on the left-hand side, it works because these top teams will look at Ben Johnson and go, right, get him on the left.
Yeah,
push him on his left hand. Yeah, and then because he's all awkward, right? It was embarrassing yesterday because he looked over at Moyes and he didn't know what to do. He didn't know whether to go.
Second half, he was so uncomfortable, wasn't he?
Right, and he was looking at him.
He was looking across like, "What do you want me?"
Yeah, and it's, to me, you're setting him up to fail, basically. If that makes sense, you're setting someone up to fail.
Exactly what I said. Yeah.
Well, his confidence to me seems to be dwindling by the match. I don't know whether I'm misreading it, but from the outside looking in, his last few games have not been. He's not exactly covered himself in any glory.
He ain't a wing back.
No,
He ain't a wing back. Stop
No,
using him
he's
as
a
a wing
right
back.
back.
Our wing backs are Masuaku and Fredericks. Be all and end all. Our wing backs for that formation are Masuaku and Fredericks. If you haven't got either one of those because of injury, stop playing in formation. It's that simple.
Can I ask Duke something? Like, obviously, with regard to the subs bench, do you know when you was looking at that subs bench yesterday, Duke? Like, we need a lot of. Yeah, we did. All right, we only had 8 players on it.
Earlier, we
Right,
only had eight
had
players, 2 keepers.
How much do we need to invest, like, in regards of like players now? Because I counted. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong. I counted 4 or 5 under 23s on that bench. Alves, Connor Coventry, Nathan Trott, Odebekio, and there was someone else. I think I've said Alves already, but
it was Balbuena, Ben Rama, Lanzini, Alves, Martin, Trott, Odebeko, and Coventry. We didn't have the full complement on the bench.
And
so no, it was Balbuena. How old's Balbuena? He's not exactly
29. 29.
He's older than what I thought he was.
Alves, Trott, Odebeko, and Coventry, as James has just said, they're 4 players that are under 23s players essentially, and 2 goalkeepers.
240 million. I've already worked it out, mate. I'd already sat down. I don't know where my book is actually. I'd already sat down and I worked out that if you go out, and this was basically I took 14 players. Now you don't need all 14 of them players, but if we're gonna go on a European hunt, let's say, we're gonna need at least 8, 9. And that doesn't include Lingard and Dawson, to be fair. The total of 14 players that I had, taking their transfer market website transfer value, which is always bullshit anyway, but I added 5 million to each player based off of their transfer market valuation. So, for instance, Areola on there is at 17. So I went 23. You know, and bearing in mind, I included Lascelles at Newcastle because I think he's a good player. I do like him. Yeah. I included Hayden from Newcastle and John Joe Shelby at Newcastle to come in as, I think you and me have discussed this, as the backup to Rice and Souček and several other players. The total for the 14 players that I'd picked was 230 million quid. That's how much it costs to get in some players. And that's only based off of the transfer market website valuation and me adding 5 million to each player. So if you think we can get Areola for 23 off of Real Madrid, then so be it. But more than likely he's going to cost 28 to 30 because he's a Real Madrid goalkeeper.
He's at PSG.
No, they swapped him. We had this conversation with Marzi. Was it the other way?
He was only on loan at Real Madrid. I checked it out.
Oh, right, okay. So even then, you're still talking 23 plus, right? These players that are coming out of the Championship, so, you know, we were talking Ivan Toney. They want 30 million quid for him. All right, see you later on. Armstrong, 15 million. But if that's the case, if Newcastle go down, and at the minute that looks more likely, if I'm honest, Lascelles is going to be at least 20 million, 25. There's the boy. Hayden and Shelby are going to be 20 million, kind of, because you wouldn't want to let them go for anything less, would you? If you're Newcastle, because if that's the case, you've got to rebuild. So you know, it's hard, mate, because we know that they're not going to spend that money. We know this.
Yeah.
They're kind of, you know, Moyes has got 20 million. He knows that because that's the money he had in January. He's been told he's going to have 60, but that includes the money from selling the other 2. That comes from selling Lanzini and from selling Anderson. You could probably add another 12 million to that if someone came in for Masuaku. Sort it out, Peach. Maybe if someone came in for Fredericks for 15 million, you could add a bit more cash to it. That's still nowhere near the money we need.
So technically, then, from what you've worked out, we are technically 4 transfer windows behind. If you class at 60 million each one.
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me,
So,
we're give or take, yeah. So it's going to be 2
and we've
seasons
got
before he even gets what he needs.
Peach,
that's
talk to us.
unbelievable, isn't it?
It's mad, mate. It's madness. Oh, he's gone again.
That's-
Peach,
No,
is
I'm
your
here,
phone,
I'm here,
please?
dog. I'm here. Yeah, I ain't
Talk
going
to us.
nowhere. I'm here, man.
Thoughts on
Talk to
yesterday,
me,
mate?
Peach.
What happened, man?
The wrong
Like,
team was selected.
oh, 100. And James.
He's there, yeah.
There he
He
is.
said it, disgusted. And you know what? Why are you gonna have Johnson and Noble before Lantini and Benrama? I'll never know. He's scared of the badge. He's scared of the history. He's scared. He's scared. He's
Well,
a scared
he's never
man.
won at Old Trafford. He's done a fantastic job for
Never.
us as a manager. I'm not
He's
going to
never won
slate
at
him
Old
off for that,
Trafford. He's
but
never won at Stamford Bridge. He's
Correct.
never won at Highbury or
Correct.
the new Highbury.
Yep.
And like,
Yeah.
I don't think he
No,
was
you're right.
managing when they were at Highbury, Peach. I won't lie to you.
what's that, mate?
I said I don't think Moyes was managing when Arsenal were at Highbury, mate. But
No, he
it
was.
a good effort.
Yeah,
He was. He was.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
started his
never won
managerial
at
career.
Anfield. He's never won at Highbury. He's never won at Stamford Bridge. And he's
Fair
never
enough.
He started his managerial career at 98.
At Old Trafford.
Did he really?
Never.
Yeah.
He started,
Never won at their 4 games in Premier League football.
he started his managerial
Which
career
says
at
you all.
Preston.
Yep.
At Preston,
Oh,
and
yeah, I
he got the
suppose,
move.
yeah.
I think he went to Everton in 01. So if we say he's had a 20-year career, obviously take out the time that he was out of work and whatever. But even so, he's still been a Premier League manager for
But going back to what Duke said earlier about him basically being as stubborn as Sam Allardyce, if that was any other manager, we would have slated him down to the ground and said to him, "You know what? That's
100%.
disgusting."
True, but
right?
obviously this is a manager who's got us to 5th. That's probably
but the thing is,
saving him from the
thing
criticism.
is though, Rob, if we finish 5th, then I would understand that. But in 10 games, we could end up finishing 10th. Do you know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, you can't. How can I put it? I don't want to be negative on him because he's done well in spells. Yeah, there's a couple of games this season where he's let us down. He let us down at the Brighton home game. He let us down at Old Trafford in the Cup. He let us down yesterday. He let us down at Liverpool at home, playing this sort of negative. I'm so scared that I don't want to lose to this team, but you don't want to win it either. If that makes sense. So for me, if he finished 5th now, he's had a good season, and I could understand that. But if he don't finish anywhere in the top 6, and like Duke said, I do make him 100% right. If he drops into 8th or 9th, which as West Ham fans, we all know that we could fall off an edge of a cliff, and we might not win a game for 5.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? And it could end up being a great season, just like turn into a nightmare. And I'm just, how can I put it? The stubbornness and all that. Yeah, it's like, how can we go from, let's roll back 3 weeks ago when we played Spurs, right? I think it was 3 weeks ago. We played Spurs, we get the win, 2-1. We go up to the Etihad, right? We lost the game, but we were all proud. As West Ham fans, you know what, we're playing well. Over the moon, right? I'm playing. Right? We played Leeds at home, right? It wasn't the best, and I will be the first one to say that, but we got the win. We won ugly. It was ugly, and we won. You go to Old Trafford with 6 days rest, I believe, 5-6 days rest. They've played in the week. They've got injuries, and we put out a team that is as fitting as a team that is in the bottom 3.
It was an 11 that basically said we're scared, in my opinion.
100%, 100%, Gatesy.
It was an 11 that said he was scared, and I think Peach got it right. I think he's frightened of the badge, and that's not like you say. It's not just United. That's across the board of any of those so-called top 6. Unfortunately, at West Ham, a slightly different scenario than what he had at Everton. And let's be fair, he had a bigger pool of players to be able to pick from at Everton. He doesn't have that with us, and he certainly doesn't have the defence capabilities with us that he had at Everton. You know, he'd go up to Everton and he'd go up to Old Trafford with Everton and he'd get a draw. He'd go to Arsenal and he'd get a draw. Like you say, he's never won, but I can imagine his defensive stats are quite high going to these grounds with Everton. So, you know, we don't have that pool of defensive players. We don't have the defensive capabilities that Everton would have had then. And bearing in mind that back then, that United side that he was coming up against with Everton would have contained some of the greater Manchester United names from the past. To even get a draw against them would have been massive. You know, so he doesn't have that with us. So he wouldn't have been able to go and do that with us. Our strengths, let's be honest, our strengths lie with the likes of Ben Rama, Antonio, Bowen, Declan Rice and Thomas Souček, Craig Dawson, and if Bonner was fit, on Bonner. The height from corners, free kicks, etc., attacking. We've got a decent attacking prowess with this team, be it on the counter-attack, but we didn't even counter-attack yesterday. Someone said it. We set out for counter-attack and didn't counter-attack. We just
sat.
So
you don't set up with you don't set up counter-attack with only 2 attack-minded players at Old Trafford. Let's be honest.
No.
You ain't gonna go up there and win a game with 2 attackers.
Let me ask Peach a question, because I'm obviously, because we're getting a bit late into it, guys. So we're probably going to wrap it up fairly soon. But obviously, Peach,
another 10 or so. Yeah.
Saeed Ben Rama, why is he not getting a run? And I'm talking like what James has said. You know, not 20 minutes off the bench here, 15 minutes off the bench there. You paid 20 million quid for this guy, 6 months ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Why are you not playing him?
He impregnated Moises' daughter.
There you
Allegedly.
go.
Allegedly. Let's get out of there quick. Allegedly. I don't want to be shut down.
This is the opinion of Peach and is not the opinion of Forged from Iron. Thank you very much. He's been hanging out the back of his daughter. No, I didn't say that.
No, you know what? Listen,
he must have. Like,
he doesn't trust him, does he?
I don't care. I don't care if it was a Sullivan signing. I don't care if it was a Moyes signing. I don't care if it was like the Milkman signing. There's something wrong.
It just makes no sense. It just makes no sense. Like, how can you take out attacking? How can you take out an attacking player in Lingard and then replace him with Noble?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
you can't.
And I know you love Mark Noble, so I know you're not saying that because you're.
I'm not saying that.
But at the same time, you said it yourself. We set up 11 players.
Work.
2 of them are attack minded.
Yeah, but Rob, I agree with what you're saying, but we're playing against Manchester United, who are going to have fitness in the middle. And let's be honest, this ain't a Burnley or a Palace. Them midfielders will run rings round Noble. And I actually don't think Noble played that bad. I thought he played okay. He played okay, but
he did the best that you can expect of him at the twilight of his career. You know. Yeah,
and I can't agree with you any more than that. Do I think he should be starting games? Definitely not. I think it's got to a stage now. And I don't know whether you two agree, but he's a 20-minute man. He comes on, shut the game down.
Yep.
And that's
he
it.
Could probably play a game in the cup, at home against, say, a Championship League 1, League 2 team and look decent. But with the greatest of respect, with the best will in the world, against a team that's going to sort of like have a little bit of guile, a little bit of pace, a little bit of craft, he's just not. He's not on the same page anymore. And like I say, it comes to all players. I love Mark Noble, but he's not operating at that level anymore.
Everything comes to an end, and it's like his position now and his play now should be the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, close the game up, and that's it.
Do you know what I'd have been happier with? and obviously hindsight's perfect vision, do you know what I'd have actually been happier with?
Go on.
Stinging Connor Coventry in there. Why
Oh,
not?
big time.
Why
Big
not?
time. Why not?
When is he going to get a crack?
Yeah. Why not?
You know, he's
Well,
20
wait,
years
wait,
of age
wait.
now. He's becoming this season's Josh Cullen. He's heading
Cullen.
that direction.
That's what I was just gonna say. When did Josh Cullen
You know,
get
everybody's
You know what,
saying he's
though?
this, he's that. Give him a go. Let's test him.
Yeah, but do you know what though, right? In all seriousness, with everything, right? And obviously, I've heard everything, and I've spoke to you today, and done things last night, and Jake and everything else. I think one of the biggest things that I've sort of understood over the last sort of 24 hours is how light our squad is in bodies.
Oh, massively.
Like when I look at our squad,
you ain't got a full bench.
That's a fear. And not even that, you've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench, which like I've never seen that in my lifetime.
That was ridiculous.
Well, we've done it regularly this season. We've done it about 3-4 times.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
And that is the problem that I'm seeing there. And this is the thing that I've been saying to people, and I think you've seen it before, you lads, is that we're miles away from being anywhere near this top thing. And we are, and I'm going to be honest here, we're blagging it. We're blagging it along.
Oh,
we're nicking.
Massively.
We're batting above our average, aren't we, right now?
You know the funny thing, Mark Noble in Europe might be a good player. And then you got people like Ashby, Longello, like they might get their chance in Europe. Like I feel we have depth for this in the academy.
If we carry on playing like we did yesterday, Peach, we're not making Europe.
Oh no! That was the wrong setup from the start. Like
no,
when
I
know. I was disgusted.
But do you know what though? Do you know what? I don't know about you. You've mentioned it yourself. You said like get rid of Lanzini, get rid of Anderson, get rid of Yarmolenko. Look, like we haven't even got them players who, like 2 of them players ain't even playing because they're like one of them's out on loan, one was injured. So we've got to get rid of 3 players, and we're light as it is. Even
this
with
is why I
them
said
players.
14.
Yeah. And
you know,
all right, let me ask you this then. Before we,
I love that we're talking about this and not relegation, though. Still, so big up.
I love
that we're talking about this.
I completely agree with you there, mate. All right, listen, I'm gonna put one more question to you all, including you, Gatesy, before we need to start wrapping it up in the next 5 or so minutes.
Hey, dude, before you answer that question, look what I got from the British shop. Scottish pie.
Love it. Go on, son. So on Twitter yesterday, there's 2 tweets that caught my attention. I've mentioned it to Milesy on the Falls from Iron page earlier. The way the fans were banging on about Harry Maguire, all right, Virgil van Dijk-esque kind of commanding of his right. I saw you roll your eyes there, mate. James, completely agree with you. One tweet, and I couldn't find it this morning, so I think it might have been deleted. It was embarrassing. He's the best English centre back since Bobby Moore. They were comparing him. They were comparing him to Bobby Moore. Gatesy, your thoughts on that before I hit the last one?
Am I allowed to laugh in your face?
Go on, Gatesy.
Yeah, go on, knock yourself out.
Don't hold back. Go on, Gatesy.
What a load of bollocks.
James?
Yeah.
Disgusting, mate. Disrespectful to Bobby Moore, mate. That's an insult 100%. To the man.
That's the man right there. That's the man right there, man. Maguire can't even lace his boots, man. I don't care.
Bobby Moore has won the World Cup. He's played against arguably one of the best players, if not at the time, in Pele.
England's best player.
All Harry Maguire's done is get nicked in Greece. And that's it. You know what I mean? And shocking.
Pete, what are your thoughts on Maguire being compared to Bobby Moore?
Bollock!
All right.
And there,
Maguire, honestly, Maguire, like, he can put it down. When he plays for England, I'll back him. But no, man, like, honestly, he's not even in the same frame as Bobby Moore. He's not even in the same frame as, like, Craig Dawson for hell. Like, this year, He's not even in the same family as Dawson.
I
How
used
do
the
you
analogy.
compare to election?
I used the analogy the other day, Duke, where we was making the comparison between Declan Rice and the other English CDMs, and I used the analogy, and I think I'll use it here for
Why?
exactly the same purpose. You are comparing Bobby Moore to Harry Maguire. That is like comparing Dom Perignon champagne to a can of
Yeah.
Tizer.
Bum.
Listen, I want to say
Yeah.
one thing on it. If Harry Maguire's worth 80 million, I'm not accepting anything less than 140 for Declan Rice. I'm telling you now, right? And then the last thing I'm going to put to you was the tweet.
If Harry Maguire is worth 80 million, Bobby Moore is worth 800 million, dog.
Even now.
It shows you how delusional. It shows you how delusional certain section of the Manchester United fans are, okay? They compared, or they one of them asked the question yesterday, who do you pick in their prime? And I'm guessing they meant the prime as in Bruno Fernandes that's currently playing for United this season, okay? Or prime...
I know
Prime
what's
Andreas Iniesta. They asked the question, do you pick Bruno Fernandes over Andreas Iniesta?
God.
No, I'll pick. You know what? I'll pick Van Nistelrooy, dog, all day long.
I can't believe how delusional they are, mate. I really can't.
I tell you what, give me 5 at the back any day.
And you know what? They're not fans. They're
I'll
not
tell you
fans.
what, listen.
Like, they're not
Listen,
fans.
we think
they
have it bad.
They pot off like they pot off if they're 1-0 down, 10 minutes to go. They pot off. They're not fans, man. They're not supporters.
We think we have it bad, right? We think we have it bad, but at least in a way we're realists. We all know that, as you said already, James, this season is not going to be repeated unless we have a massive investment, right? You've said it yourself, and we've had this conversation. So this is nothing new. We're realists. In no way, shape, or form are we delusional enough to compare Bruno Fernandes, who has scored plenty of penalties for Man United in his career, to Andreas Iniesta, you know, the guy that was at the heart and soul of one of the greatest European Barcelona teams ever.
Dude,
I just want to reel off.
Hold up, dude, can I tell you one thing, Doc? My father's favorite player is that man right there, Iniesta. And my father knows football, Doc. And he loved the way he played, man. So no, that's uncomparable. That is uncomparable. Uncomparable. That's like comparing Chicharito with Messi, man. Straight up.
Yeah.
Come on, James, you were going to say.
And this is basically you're comparing a geezer who's scored 8 penalties this year and hasn't won anything at club level, so to speak, of higher trophy, to a man who's won a European Championship, a World Cup, and multiple Champions Leagues.
Go on, James.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Again,
it's embarrassing.
Go on, James.
Comparing on to a can of Tizer, gentlemen. That's all I'll say.
I love that, though. That was dope.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Right, we're going to wrap it up here,
Gatesy, do your thing.
Okay, so you've got the banner there, ladies and gentlemen. This is my usual shout out. Isla's Army. This, if you don't know, Isla Caton is a 6-year-old girl. She has neuroblastoma. If you don't know what that is, it is a really rare, really aggressive form of childhood cancer. If the treatment that she needs to save her life is not available on the NHS. Therefore, her family have got to put their entire life on hold, pause it, cart this poor little girl all over the world to try and get the treatment to save her life. This is really expensive, really stressful time for this family, let alone you're doing it in the middle of a global pandemic, guys. I mean, just put yourself in their shoes. This is absolute hell on earth, let me tell you. They need our help. They need everyone's help watching this. I ask you to dig deep. I ask you to give generously. I appreciate that we're all in these times of COVID, but please, if there's anything that you can put into the pot, if it's £1, if it's £10, £100, it doesn't matter. Whatever you've got will be accepted with great gratitude. We thank you for any donations you can make. You have a PayPal page, you have a Just Giving page. And as I say, I ask you to give generously. If you cannot, then fair enough, no problem. But what I would ask you to do, please, is to share this message far and wide to try and keep the momentum going to try and save this poor young girl's life. I thank you very much indeed for your attention. Okay, so there we shall end it. And I'm just going to... I did have the banner up there for quite a while for the people watching, but if you don't know, Hammers Polls, James, who's sitting there, is heavily involved with them. You've got them on YouTube, you've got them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Check them out. There's plenty of content there for you to get your teeth into. Occasionally, I've popped up on a few of them recently, and I hope to be doing that again in future.
Yeah,
so, ladies
I'm going to try. I'm going to try and get an AFTV person on.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah,
and
I'll be watching that one, mate. I'll be watching that.
And what do you mean watching it? I'm going to get you on it.
Hey! If I'm around, mate.
So,
if I'm around, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks very much for coming to us, Pete. Short but sweet, but I've got me dinner on the go, so I've got to go. It is what it is. But thanks for coming, buddy.
Thanks a lot, lads.
Thank you,
Take
man.
care.
And James, thank you as well. Much appreciate your time as usual, my friend.
Big up, James.
And guys,
take care,
we're
man.
off. We're off to the game on Sunday, I believe it is, against the mighty
3 o'clock
Arsenal.
kickoff.
Let's have Arsenal, Duke. Let's have them, Duke. Let's have Arsenal, Duke. Why not, man?
Regain a bit of momentum to try and push on towards the European spot. There's only one thing left to say, guys. Tell me them beautiful 4 words.
Come on,
you Irons!
Come on, you Irons!
That's the magic. Come on, you Irons!
Up the hammer.